So first off, people are going to see the title in this video and they'll be like, boo, you're just so reactionary, knee-jerk. He's got one bad half and you're trying to jump off the bandwagon. Boo. No, this ain't that. This is having a legitimate adult-adjacent conversation about what's been going on with Josh Dobbs and the Minnesota Vikings. So, yes, Josh Dobbs has been in the building for basically 3 weeks. He's been a major part of 2 insane wins against the Falcons as well as against the Saints. And, I mean, Dobbs, he had some highlights against the Broncos, but also he had some lowlights. And it's fair to ask the question of, once Jaren Hall clears concussion protocol, will the Vikings continue to roll with Josh Dobbs, or will they go with the rookie Jaren Hall, who they drafted and was here all offseason, knows the playbook, knows his teammates' names, or Nick Mullins is healthy? I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen right now. But, again, we like to pride ourselves for calling a spade here. And when Kirk Cousins was playing bad in 2018, a part of 2019, we called that out, especially the first half of 2020 before the bye week. He was ass, thank you. And since basically the last 2 years, he's played at a very high level. This year was playing at an MVP adjacent type level. And Josh Dobbs is a lot of fun, man. And Josh Dobbs finally got his opportunity here in the great state of Minnesota. Arizona's was whatever. They were very talent bereft. But here with the Vikings, got a great offensive line, got an offensive-minded head coach who maybe is a little bit too conservative at times, as well as great weapons, especially with Justin Jefferson coming back. A great defense opposite of you that will get some stops, and life is good, right? And Josh Dobbs, it's so cute. He gets the play call, reads it off of his wristband, and then gets a little bit of coaching from Kevin O'Connell before the comes on the headset. And he's out there, he's making plays, he's running around and doing everything. And it's been great. But at a certain point, is there diminishing returns? And the whole thing about it is that we were always concerned about what is going to happen with Josh Dobbs once opposing defensive coordinators get game tape on him with the Vikings, right? And, they could look at Tennessee last year or Arizona this year, but what is he doing with the Vikings specifically? That's where they're going to make their money. And Vance Joseph, Vance Refrigeration, with the Broncos, he's not a dummy, right? Even though his defense gave up 70 points to the Dolphins and 726 yards. But you could tell, they were ready for Josh Dobbs in this offense. They shut down his running for the most part, aside from the touchdown, and basically they forced him to make some bad throws. And Josh Dobbs did make some mistakes. It felt like his going through his progressions was a little bit slower than the first 2 games. Maybe it's because there's actual structure in the offense now, as well as Dobbs threw an interception where, yes, the ball was tipped, but also he probably threw about 3 or 4 more balls that frankly should have been intercepted. And it wasn't his cleanest game by any stretch of the imagination. He did make some great plays. Love the touchdown pass to Josh Oliver. Love the touchdown run. Made a couple of other key throws as well. But you could tell that the Broncos were ready for him. And this wasn't the Saints game. Well, first half of the Saints game where he was absolutely dynamite. And also he was NFC Offensive Player of the Week against the Falcons, where it was a game that he wasn't even planning on playing, but Jaren Hall got dinged up in that. But, the question is going to be, is the hot streak going to continue? Is this something that is replicable? And overall, I think that it is. I think that there's a lot of things that need to be cleaned up, notably Dobbs taking better care of the football. Also, Dobbs fumbled 3 times. Against the Broncos, lost one of them, but with a team with such razor-thin margins, you cannot be turfing the football. Alexander Madison does that enough. But, again, I'm not hating on Josh Dobbs. I think it's a phenomenal story. I think that he could, once he learns the flow playbook and his teammates' names, he certainly is capable of going on a tear with this team. And, first off, you could say, well, he's been a journeyman backup. He's never been given an opportunity like this. And maybe he'll get up to speed in the bye week, and maybe he'll be absolutely dynamite the last 5 games of the season. Maybe Josh Dobbs will lead the Vikings to 2 wins over the Lions. Maybe they'll steal back the division. Who knows? And I think it's still certainly possible. Josh Dobbs is 28, going to be 29 in January, that he could win the starting quarterback job for next year. He could potentially get an extension or even be franchise tagged here with the Vikings. That is certainly on the table. But At a certain point, do the Vikings see Josh Dobbs as more of a liability than an asset? Where do all the amazing plays and the added flexibility of being a mobile quarterback is outweighed by mistakes and missed plays? Because I think that's a valid question. And winning is a cologne that covers up a lot of stink. Drakar Nor. But the loss. I mean, are we having this conversation if Josh Dobbs throws like a 35-yard strike down the middle to Jordan Addison and sets up Greg Joseph for a game-winning field goal? Maybe, maybe not. Well, certainly the tone of the conversation changed, but it doesn't erase the mistakes that he made against the Broncos and the fact that they played him tough. And I think the rest of the league, it's kind of like when a hitter comes up for the minor leagues and starts out hot in the majors, but all of a sudden when those at bats come along, there's more film and the pitchers are ready for them, they tend to struggle. And could that be it with Josh Dobbs, or can he overcome? And part of it's on him, part of it is on Kevin O'Connell and play calling and usage. And frankly, I do put some of Dobbs' struggles both in the second half against the Saints last week as well as the Broncos game on Kevin O'Connell's reluctance to let him open it up and let it rip. I know that Kevin O'Connell's trying to be creative and stuff, like the TJ Hawkinson read option with Josh Dobbs getting lit up and losing that fumble, and then the Broncos take over at the 9. But I don't know, Dobbs needs a good game against the Bears on Monday night in a must-win game. And yes, I think Dobbs should get the benefit of the doubt but at a certain point, the whole, he's only been here for so long, that has to go away because you got to win games. And the season is a lot of fun. The season has been very uneven, but the season ain't over. And the Vikings still have the most dangerous team in the NFC. They're a danger to the team that they're playing, and they're a danger to themselves sometimes. And Dobbs, with the bye week coming up, Dobbs has to prove that he is the guy in the Bears game. Otherwise, the Vikings will have to have some tough conversations. Will it be the rookie Jaren Hall? And again, Jaren Hall looked fantastic, especially in that second drive against the Falcons before he left with a concussion. And he's a guy that was handpicked by O'Connell and Kwesi and the coaching staff and has been here all offseason. He knows the offense inside and out. All right, so it's a conversation that's going to have to be had, but Dobbs can force that issue. Dobbs can be the man against the Bears, and it can be his job. But let's not act like this is a finished, finito conversation. It's a week-to-week thing. We'll see. Because the Passtronaut thing, it's a ton of fun. It's a great story. I love to see a guy who's been around the league as a journeyman finally get his shot. I love that he takes shots downfield. I don't love that he sometimes just throws it up for grabs, but I know that's something that you have to live with. I love his mobility. I wish that Kevin O'Connell would have him use it more, but we'll see. And it could just be a spot where JJ returns against the Bears and the Vikings turn into the 99 Rams and we go and win the Super Bowl and Josh Dobbs wins the MVP. I hope that's the case, but I don't know. Just talking out loud. We'll see what happens. Bears is a must win. There you go. But your thoughts are thoughts. Will Passtronaut Mania continue? I hope so. But let us know in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skol, production value.